I was born in a small town in the north of England, West Yorkshire, called Pontefract. Maybe like around 200,000 people live there. It's like a quiet place, similar to where I'm living now, like in Allentown. I was born the 8th of February 1976. Got two brothers. One's 4 years older, Shane. My other brother Craig is 2 years older, and my parents, Susan and Tony. So I come from like a big family. My mum and dad. On my father's side, my father got 5 brothers, 5 sisters, and my mother, she got 4 sisters and 3 brothers. So obviously got a really big family, pretty close family. And yeah, we especially my brothers, we were sort of glued at the hip as kids. As parents did everything for us. Never really had a lot of money, so like my parents worked very hard to provide for us. And like a family what's always been involved in sports. My dad used to do karate as a kid, and played a little bit of pool himself. He was a semi-professional dart player, but never really had the backing or the money to try and play on the tour. But he beat most of the best players along the way in pro-ams and stuff like that. And later on in life, he went on to become a boxing coach, and he become national champion with one of his students. So he's been always involved in sport. He loves his pool. He watches me play all the time when I'm on the streams and everything else. My mother just really works very hard to provide for the family. She one of them people what just never stops. Like she never sits down. So yeah, as kids, like, we had a really good childhood. My brother Shane was also a professional pool player, and I'd probably say up to, from the ages of me personally, been from like the age of 15, let's say, to the age of 21, Shane was actually a better player than me. And he used to beat up on me a lot, which I didn't take. I didn't take it very well. Yeah, so and my other brother Craig was never really into pool, but he's into cars. He turned professional boxer also, but he got a bad injury to his hand, so he had to stop. And these days he's into triathlons. So yeah, the old family's really into sport. Yeah, well, when I was growing up, never really liked school, even from like an infant age. At like 4, 5, 6 years old, I hated school. My mother had to really drag me out of bed, which wasn't easy. Sometimes she'd like be carrying me by my hair, because I'd like scream because I had to go to school. I just hated school. So from the age of 5 and 6, I started playing a lot of football, but in America you call it soccer. It's like the national sport in UK. So I was really hooked on soccer. I was a big Manchester United fan. I used to just live and breathe it, and when I got to around the age of 10, I started getting a really good talent for the sport, and started playing for the school teams, local teams. Used to really set up my own games as well against like rival towns and stuff like that. And then with soccer, I was involved in a lot of other sports like cricket and rugby. Did a lot of fishing with my brothers and my father. And then I'd probably say from the ages of between 10 and 15, I really struggled at school. The main reason, because I used to have really bad stammer. stutter, which really held me back at school. I still haven't got, I haven't really cured it still. So when I was at school and I had to do like a readout or something like that, I just couldn't get the words out. So I was a pretty shy kid really when it come to speaking in a group or something like that. So yeah, it's really held me back at school. Where with sports, it was like a release really for me, because obviously I could do my talking with my skill. And then from around the age of 13, I started really trying my hand really like at boxing. But my brother did get a pool table when I was about 10, 11 year old, and but he only kept it for a couple of years. So we just played in the house. So that was like a sort of at that time wasn't something I would think I'd be doing as a professional. Once I left school, I always thought I'd be like a professional soccer player. And even if you spoke to my family now and my friends from school, they all thought I would have been a professional soccer player, or even like boxing also, because I had like a lot of aggression as a child really. I had like a bad temper, and yeah, just I always seemed to get involved in trouble, even though I wasn't really a crime type of person, but I seemed to like bring a lot of trouble like to the house really, especially for my parents. So yeah, I was like a problem child in some ways, and just hated school. And so when I started boxing, I sort of like could let my aggression out in the ring. So I was an amateur boxer for 5 years. I boxed for my county, which was like a really good honour. My family, like I said before, was really heavily involved. I had a couple of cousins who were pro. My brother was really good, and my dad was our coach. So when I got to the age of 15, one day I'm at the boxing gym, and that's when I went to a local bar which were close to the boxing gym, and me and my brother were playing pool just for fun. And the landlord came over to us. Obviously, he'd spotted us playing, and we, even at that time, like we both played pretty good. And he asked us to join his local team, his team for the local league. This was in Nottingham, which is like maybe 1 mile away from Pontefract, and we sort of like thought about it, and then we agreed we would play. And that's how my pool career started really. Once I sort of started playing the local leagues, I sort of really got the bug, and my improvements really shot up big time in the space of a year. But at the same time, I was still boxing. I had like over maybe 12 fights, and so yeah, I sort of, and I was playing a lot of soccer still also. So I was involved in a lot of sports. So like school was never something I wanted to do. Never really learned much at school. I used, especially the last 2 years at school, I probably went. I was probably absent from school about 75% of the time. So my education like is zilch really. Yeah. So when I started playing English 8-ball, which is completely different to American pool, I think American pool fans or American players or pool players don't really understand how the big difference it is coming from English 8-ball to American style pool. So yeah, well, I started playing in the pubs, like I said, in the local league. But at the time, I used to follow it a little bit because my cousin, who's maybe like 10 years older than me, called Andy Appleton. At the time, he was like the best player in the area, and he was like ranked number 4 in the world. So he was like really successful player. So once my brother and myself started playing in the leagues, we went to a few exhibitions with my cousin, and really learned a lot from him. And then he sort of invited us to go to the pool room in a place called Wakefield, which is maybe about 10 miles from where we lived. And then we started playing the local leagues over there, where the standard was a lot better. And then we used to play in the amateur events on a weekend. And myself and my brother, we was doing pretty good, like without really winning, but always semi-finals and stuff like that. So really, at the age of 16, 17, I was playing like maybe 4 or 5 leagues a week. And then obviously started playing the local events, competitions, and started having some success. And at that time, I was still mixing the three, like boxing, soccer, and pool. So when I got to 17, I decided that I think I can make money playing pool. So because even at 17, I was probably making like £200 a week, which is equivalent to about $300 a week. So then I decided that boxing wasn't really for me. Really difficult sport, and you had to be really dedicated. I never really had that dedication for boxing. So that's when I sort of decided to stop with the boxing. And then with the soccer, I was just like a part-time player. I just did it for a bit of fun in the end. So I really started dedicating myself to pool. Me and my brother Shane, my cousin, we'd practice like 6-7 hours a day for like 2 or 3 years. And by the time I got to 18, I entered my first, at the age of 17, I entered the National Junior Championships, which was my first event really away from my town, and I happened to win it. So that was like a massive breakthrough for me to win that. And then I started playing more pro-ams, and I was doing well, beating a lot of the top players at that time. And then I entered the National 8-ball Championships, the Amateur National 8-ball Championships, with like at the time maybe 1,300 entries. Never really thought about winning the competition, but I happened to win it, and that was really where my belief and my career. I thought, yeah, I'm gonna be I'm gonna be one of the best players. And yeah, so from the age of 18, I decided to join the International Pool Tour, which is like our national tour in the UK. We're all the best players. So I joined that along with my brother. My cousin played on that, and then within a year, you had to finish in the top 64 out of maybe 200 players to be able to have the option to turn professional. So in my first year, I jumped up the rankings to like provisional number 18, which was really good for my first year. And then so I turned professional at 19 years old, and the very first professional event I ever entered, I managed to win that also. So it was quite ironic that the first junior event I entered, I won. And then I won the first amateur national championship, and then the first professional event I ever played in, I also won that. And I remember it really well because I played at the time like the world ranked number 2 player, and we had a classic final. I beat him 9-8, a guy called Rob Hill. So that's like one of my biggest memories really of playing English 8-ball. And then after 1 year, I got up to number, I think after my first year as a professional, I think I got to number 6 in the rankings, probably like the quickest ever guy to get that high. And then the year after, at the age of 20, that will have been in around 1998. In 1998, I become the world number 1. So after like 1.5 years as a pro, I become like the ranked number 1 professional, and then that's when the floodgates really opened. I started winning everything. And then And then it just kicked on from there. Like that's when I decided, and I did have a job at that time. I worked in a warehouse, but it wasn't really for me, especially waking up early. And then from that, I worked in my uncle's, in my cousin's pool room. I worked in his pool room for about a year, but sort of anchored my practice because it's difficult to work in a pool room and really want to practice whenever you finish work or something like that. So at the age of 20, 21, I really decided to really focus on pool 100%, and that was my job really. And then since the age of 20, 21, I was like, I qualified to play for the national team, the England team. I played for England for like 7 or 8 years, and then I just playing all over the country. Went to places like South Africa. I won a big tournament out there. Won a tournament in Australia, in places like Malta, France. So, because with English 8-ball, it's only really played in certain countries like South Africa, Australia, Belgium, France, them type of countries. But not every country played English 8-ball. Where places like Germany and Spain, and probably like the rest of the world, they all play like American style pool. So I had very limited experience of playing American pool from, let's say, 1997 to 2006 when I really switched over to American pool. But over my I was turned professional in 1996, and then around 2006, that's when I switched from English 8-ball to American pool. Like, so in my 10-year professional as an English 8-ball player, I won like maybe over 35 professional titles. I was world ranked #1 in the world for maybe 6 out of them 10 years. My main rival was a guy called Mick Hill. So me and him would go back and forth. But the only title what I really regret and I failed to win was the World 8-ball Championship. So even though I won all them pro events, which were probably more difficult to win a World Championship on paper, because when you come to the World Championships, you'd have all the players from different countries like Australia, and none of them were that strong. So English 8-ball is more of a UK-based game, and that is where all the best players are from. But when it comes to the World Championships, I wanted it too much, maybe tried too hard. I lost in the final a couple of times. One of them I was just very unlucky. Lost in the semis, lost maybe 5 or 6 times in the quarterfinals. So I was always close, but as the years went past, I sort of maybe tried too hard. And then 2006 was really my last year playing English 8-ball. And then, after 2005 really, that's when I applied to get on the IPT because it was 8-ball, and then obviously that's where my American pool career really started then. Yeah, so switching from English 8-ball to American pool was pretty tough. So around 2006, obviously we had a multi-million-dollar tour called the International Pool Tour, which was all done by Kevin Trudeau, and then but I was still playing a little bit of English 8-ball, but only really part-time. My career was coming to an end really once I decided to start playing American pool. So then I had to switch between the cues. Really, were the biggest problem. Like going from like using a snooker style cue. I used to play a little bit of snooker as well, but never really took it serious. But I do have like maybe over like 300-400 breaks over 100. Maybe got to a semi-pro level, but never really tried to take it any further. Just always loved pool really. So yeah, just. Around 2006, I started practicing a lot the American 8-ball. With the IPT, it was 8-ball, so I wasn't really playing 8-ball on American table. And then obviously the IPT started, but only after 6 months it collapsed, which was disappointing because at the time I was sort of like just getting used to the equipment and the size of the balls. Because with English 8-ball, the balls are like maybe half size of American pool ball size. So obviously the big difference on how the balls reacted really, and especially the cues. Like English 8-ball cue, I was using like a 8mm tip, where now you coming from there to American pull, and it's like around like a 12.5mm tip. So that was a big difference. And then obviously with English 8-ball, it's a bit like snooker. You don't have to move the cue ball around a lot. You don't have to play with a lot of English. Where American pull, you have to move the cue ball around a lot, and you got to play with a lot of English, especially with the cloths not being napped. Where in snooker and English 8-ball, we play on nap cloth, and yeah. So obviously, after the IPT collapsed in 2006, I sort of so when I went into 2007, I sort of had a decision whether to go back to English 8-ball or to start playing American pull, like 9-ball, 10-ball, all them games. And I just thought at that time that it was the right time to really try my hand at American pull. It was something I thought about for a long time, and I actually did play in the World 9-ball Championships in Cardiff in 2001 and 2003. I entered a couple of local qualifiers, managed to qualify, and I did okay in one of them. It was when Matchroom did the World 9-ball. It was televised live, and I got to the last 64 and lost to the guy who got to the final the year before. So that's when I sort of thought, oh, maybe I could play American pull, but never really had a good reason to go and try American pull, because I was making a tidy living playing English pull, and it was all played in the same country, so didn't really have the funding to really gamble and go and play American pull. So the IPT, I've got a lot to be thankful for, because if it wasn't for that, maybe I'd be still playing English pull, and I'd probably be like just scraping by, probably depressed with the game, because in recent years English 8-ball's really gone backwards. So obviously when I look back now, like obviously I'm sitting here playing American pull. It's definitely the best decision I ever made. So like I said, in 2007 I decided to give American pull a really good crack. So what I did is that the big advantage you have coming from English 8-ball to American pull over, let's say, somebody coming into American pull for the first time, is that I was a winner. Like I won a lot of big titles playing English 8-ball, and I played a lot on television, won events on television. So I sort of had like the right mentality to be successful quite early in American pull. So I always felt as if I had a head start, and I used to shoot the balls really good. So yeah, 2007 I decided that I'm not really that patient, and I wanted to learn as much information as I could about the game, like the strategy of the game, the kicking, the mental strength. So in 2007 I spent maybe like 6-7 months in the Philippines, just playing money games all the time, like sometimes like $5,000, $10,000, $15,000 sets, which is a hell of a lot of money in the Philippines. And I did pretty good over there. I learned a lot off all the players like Ephraim, Bustamante, Dennis, Ronnie Alcano, all them guys, Alex Pagaline, Warren Camco, and then I went from 2000 around the summer of 2007. I decided to come to America. Went on the road in America for like three or 4 months playing money games, which was good. So now at the end of 2007, I felt as if I was ready to really start playing the circuit, the American pull tour circuit around the world and everything else full time. So in 2008, that's when I really started to play all the events like full time, and my money games really started to dwindle away. Then I started focusing more on the tournament. So I was playing Euro Tours, and then I started playing qualifiers to get in the World Championships and all that stuff, playing events in America. So yeah, 2008 was my big breakthrough year. It was really my first proper full year playing like on the circuit, and I managed to win the World 10-ball Championship in 2008 in the Philippines, which was amazing. Got a big payday. But just to win the title, like the World Championship at that time, obviously I'd never won it at English Pool, so you sort of question yourself. And in 2008, I was aged 31 years old, so start to question yourself whether you are going to be a world champion. So yeah, just winning that was a massive breakthrough for me. It really opened the floodgates, and just getting that monkey off my back of winning a world championship. So even though I didn't win the English 8-ball version, which was like not really a sanctioned world championship, and also the prize money was terrible, like $15,000 to the winner. So to not win that and then come to American pool and then in such a short space of time win the World 10-ball, I got $100,000. I'm like thinking I just won the lottery. So then obviously that took a lot of pressure off financially, and at that time I had quite a big debt. I was like maybe $20,000-$30,000 in debt. Like, so obviously to win that, I could pay all my bills off and then really have money in the bank. And I started getting invited to all the competitions then, like the World Pool Masters, all them events. And then obviously my ranking was very high, so that I didn't have to qualify for anything. So all of a sudden, when it comes to 2009, I'm thinking, oh, I've sort of made it already, but I'm thinking, oh, it's going to be more difficult to follow it up, because I was still very hungry, because I'm like new to the game. And then that's when I really started to spend so much more time in America, 2009. And then as I started spending more time in America in 2009, 2010, that's when my stutter really started to become not an issue anymore. Where before, when I played competitions, when I first got on television, I was frightened to win, because I knew if I won the event, I'd have to do like an interview, and I was frightened to death to like do interviews back then. Where now I sort of love them, you know what I mean? I look forward to doing them now, and if I don't do one now, I'm sort of asking why they didn't do an interview with me. So yeah, it's like a big transition really, from not being able to speak or have a conversation with anybody really. Sort of like used to get a lot of Mickey taken out of me over it as well. So that sort of made it worse, because people are you feel like they're like judging you and making fun of you. So I used to get really upset over that, and then like I said, 2009, 2010, I started getting more confident with speaking, but I think more so because I moved to America, and the Americans couldn't understand the word I said. Like, obviously I've got like a British accent, and none of them could really. I had to repeat myself a lot, and then I really learned how to speak a lot slower so that they could understand me. They still have an hard time now, but at least now like they can sort of try and get what I'm saying. And what's happened because of that, I've gained. I've learned how to speak and have a conversation with people, and yeah, I think definitely coming to America and been around American people, and also having a lot of television time, a lot of exposure, doing a lot of interviews, my confidence really grew with my speech, and now I don't have any issues at all with stuttering, even though I still do it now and again, like now. But I can get by with it, and it doesn't hold me back anymore. And obviously, like I said before, I used to be really camera shy because of that, where now I sort of love the camera. And that's given me confidence in life in general, and I think on the pool table also. And then, so like I said, since 2010, that's when I decided that I sort of bumped into my wife. And then she sort of changed my life really, and then yeah, just started. So I sort of moved to America 2010 full time, met Angie, and then yeah, just sort of love the country, love the people. I have a great house here, a great home, and then 2010 I won the US Open. That was like probably even though a world championship's great, winning the US Open really winning the US Open really made me famous in the pool world in America. I think that's where life really become easy for me then, once I won the US Open. And then obviously repeated it in 2011. So I guess 2011 was my real year where I sort of, yeah, maybe I am one of the best players, if not the best player in the world, and started to believe I was as well. Where before, even though I was winning competitions, I wasn't really believing I was the best. Still thinking people like Shane and Dennis and Alex were better than me, you know what I mean? But I knew I could beat them. But I wanted to do it on a consistent level. I wanted to be like the world ranked #1. Where in 2011 I managed to do that. I become world #1. And like I said, just been America ever since. Didn't think I'd ever leave England. Never in my wildest dreams think I'd be living in a little town like this called Allentown in Pennsylvania. I'd never heard of the place really. So obviously it's probably like the best place I've ever visited, because Angie, that's where she's from, and people are really nice to me, and I love my life over here. And like sitting here now, like 2015, got to meet a lot of great people. I've had a hell of a lot of success. I have like 4 world championships under my belt, 4 different disciplines. If someone said that to me like in 2008, that I'd be world 10 ball, world 8 ball, world 14 to 1, world straight pull, not world 8 ball. And also winning the World Games, which is only every 4 years, the closest thing we get to the Olympics. I mean, that title's probably bigger than all the World Championships. I mean, so it's sort of pinching myself a little bit still, and just can't believe the success I've had. Really, I still like don't really look at myself as famous or superstar. Just to me, pool's a job. It's my passion. Obviously, the level of play is amazing. I mean, the level of play in American style pool compared to English 8 ball is like night and day. I mean, there's like 50, 60, 70, 80 really good players and like 20, 30 great players. And even though pool's not in a great place these days, I mean, it should be a lot bigger and a lot better than what it is. I mean, I sort of like appreciate everything it's done for me, because it's given me it's given me a nice house, nice car, nice wife, everything else, and yeah, just very fortunate really. Even though we don't probably get the money we should get, but I'm like one of the lucky guys that do make a decent living, and yeah, so to be sitting here now, pretty emotional really when I think about it, and yeah, I didn't think I'd ever be able to do in structural. DVD also. I just think I'd have it in me to be able to do it and to be able to speak and get my point across. So yeah, that's how coming from English 8 ball to American pool, obviously the greatest decision I ever made in my life. The only slight regret is that I probably should have switched from English 8 ball to American pool. I'd probably say around 2000, 2001. I think if I did do that, then I could be sitting here with a lot more world titles, but I'm not going to be greedy. I'm sort of happy. I'm like 39 years old now, but I feel as though I'm in the prime of my career. The reason why? Because I've only been playing American pool full time for like since 2008, so 7 years playing American pool. I've won maybe over 15 major titles, what I'd call major titles, and then maybe 20, 30 other really good tournaments, and obviously played all these Mosconi Cups, which is amazing. My favourite event is definitely going to be the Mosconi Cup. I mean, when I was a kid, I mean, it started in 1994, the Mosconi Cup, so it's been going 21 years. So obviously I was 18 years old when the first one come around, and obviously I watched it because I was living in the UK. It was televised live on Sky Sports. I knew some of the players from the snooker and English 8 ball. Yeah, just always loved watching the Mosconi Cup, the atmosphere, Europe against USA, the rivalry. But obviously playing English 8 ball, I never thought I'd be playing in the Mosconi Cup. And then obviously when I started playing American pool, I'm thinking, oh, maybe I could get in the Mosconi Cup one day. And then in 2008, I won the World 10 ball, but I didn't get invited or qualify for the Mosconi Cup. So that really hurt me, because I was expecting to get a call up to play in the Team Europe. So that really hurt me that I didn't get in the team in 2008, and I even let Matchroom know that as well. But I sort of told myself after that big disappointment, probably one of my biggest disappointments actually when I look back. I told myself after that event that I'm never going to miss a Mosconi Cup. So in 2009, I qualified for the Mosconi Cup, which was my first one was in Las Vegas. And at that time, Europe had just started swinging the tide. 2007-8, Europe won. So we sort of swung the tide. So obviously coming in the team in 2009, I was really excited. We had a great team on paper, like Torsten Oman, Ralph Souquet, Niels Feyen, Mika Himminen. At the time we were like 5 world champions, I think it's the only year that we've had 5 world champions in the team. So we were sort of dubbed like the dream team. But unluckily for me that year, I sort of played well but didn't win a point, which were amazing because I felt as if I played pretty solid, but I kept losing hill. But just the old experience was amazing. But we happened to lose that year. I think we lost 11-7 to America, who played really well. Yeah, so that was even though I was disappointed that we lost, it was probably like one of the best experiences because I just loved the whole event. It's just like a great show. It's the only real week of the year where you get treated like a superstar, like with the fans and Matchroom Sport and live television, and the production's amazing. So I was desperate to get back in the team the following year in 2010 because it was going to be in London. So, but luckily I qualified. Actually, it went down to the wire. I went into the US Open 2010, October 2010. I had to really basically win the US Open to get in the team because the first 3 players had already been picked. So you're relying on a couple of wild cards. So luckily for me, I won the US Open, and then I sort of went on the rampage on the lead up to the Mosconi Cup in 2010. And that was in London. So I went into that Mosconi Cup 2010 with my confidence was so high. I was playing the best pool of my life at that time. I had like a 3-month period where I just won everything, and I just never miss a ball. So yeah, that was my favourite Mosconi Cup 2010. The reason why, because it was in England. The crowd was crazy. I had 2 or 3 unbelievable matches where the atmosphere was just amazing. And I'd probably say that's the best I've ever played in the Mosconi Cup by a mile. And we have been big-headed. I think it might be the greatest Mosconi Cup, maybe the greatest Mosconi Cup performance ever by any player. I mean, I've watched all the Mosconi Cups, and even when I watch it back myself now, I think I cannot believe how well I played, really. Yeah, that was my favourite because obviously I won the MVP. I played like the best pool of my life. And obviously the atmosphere was incredible. And then obviously ever since then I've played in every one, 2011, 2012, 2013, 2014. So I've played in 6 straight Mosconi Cups. The last 5 we've won straight. But each year I still get excited. I'm still desperate to make the team. And there's been times in the year where I've sort of like thinking, oh, I sort of could do with taking a break for 2 or 3 months. But the Mosconi Cup really stops me from doing that because if you're not playing, it's very hard to make the team because only 5 players get chosen. And in Europe, we've got maybe 15, 20 guys who can make the team. But luckily, even though I can't really qualify with a ranking because I don't play in Europe anymore, I sort of seem to win a big event every year. Like my goal every year is to win at least one major title. And luckily, since 2008, I've managed to win at least one major title every year. So that's really been my key really to getting in every Mosconi Cup. And obviously I've performed pretty good in all of them. Obviously we've won the last 5, and the whole atmosphere, the production, the crowd. I mean, the rivalry that week between the American players and the European teams is like amazing. We don't really speak for that week, but even though we're really good friends and everything else, when the event's over, it's just a little bit like the Ryder Cup with golf. It's just all just want to kill each other for that week, and then but once it's over, obviously we have a drink at the bar. But yeah, I mean the Mosconi Cup, the exposure and the way you get treated, and yeah, it's definitely the best show what's ever been what I've ever played on in pool. Even though it might not be the biggest title to win, it's the best event to play in. For the future, obviously you never know what's going to happen in the future, but playing wise, I'm still really hungry to win more world titles. I'd sort of, in a greedy way, I'd like to double up. I'd like to definitely win another US Open. To get to 3 would be great. Definitely like to win winning the World 8-ball this year was probably winning the World 8-ball championship on the Chinese 8-ball table this year was probably the defining moment for me, because 8-ball is my strongest game. Never won a world championship playing 8-ball, so winning that really was the most emotional I've ever been. Still not really sunk in that I won that tournament, to be honest. But I think for the future, I think, yeah, I can see myself playing a lot more Chinese 8-ball. Just because I love the game, I love the equipment. It's an ultimate test, I think, on a pool table, and I think there's going to be a lot more Chinese 8-ball tournaments. I mean, like the World Championship, there's one that they have a contract for the next 6-7 years, so that's going to grow and grow. I think there's going to be a tour. So American pool, I'm not sure. Maybe if Chinese 8-ball takes off in the next 12 months, I'll be switching my table from a diamond to a Chinese 8-ball table. There's no doubt about that. So then it's sort of like another challenge again. I'll be switching another discipline, even though I like the balls are the same size. But I'd have to maybe just change. I'd have to tighten my cue action up a little bit to be consistent at Chinese 8-ball, because the top players at that game they have a better cue action than me, and obviously the snooker players. So I'd have to make a few tweaks to my cue action. If that's a line we do go down with Chinese 8-ball, I'd still play American pool also, but obviously my main focus would be the Chinese 8-ball. But I still play all the US Opens and the World Championships. So yeah, I really want to keep going. I played in 6 Mosconi Cups. I'd like to get to at least 10. My ambition is to play 10 straight, actually. So that's my main goal in the Mosconi Cup, is to be the most successful Mosconi Cup player, and also from Europe anyway. I think I'm equal already after only playing in 6. So I think me and Neil's fine, the only 2 guys what's won it 5 times. So yeah, I'd like to play in the Mosconi, playing at least another 4 of them, preferably playing the next 4. If I can play more, great. And then obviously win a few more World Championships. Don't mean to sound that big-headed, but I'd like to. I'm on 4 now. I'd like to get to maybe at least, I think 7 or 8 is doable. Let's say the next, because we have like different disciplines. So we have like 3 or 4 World Championships a year. So winning maybe 1 every 2 years is a pretty good goal, I think. And then obviously just really be more successful, make as much money as possible. Obviously, I'm starting to get into different sides of things. I mean, obviously doing instructional videos now, and doing a lot more coaching now. Really enjoy the coaching. I start doing a lot more clinics, like with groups, and people coming to my house. So if you want to come, just drop me a line on Facebook, wherever. And yeah, just be happy in life. Got a beautiful wife. Obviously, probably start a family somewhere, and then eventually, and then. Yeah, I'll always be involved in pool, but I'm not one of them guys what I think I will be playing at a top level, professional level, when I get to, let's say, the age of 50, where there's some guys who keep going till they're 60. I just don't think I can do it, to be honest. I think I put so much into it mentally anyway. I'm not the most natural player, so I have to work very hard on my mental. And then the travelling, I don't love the travelling. I mean, it's nice to go all these different places, but I don't like flying. So I don't see myself flying around the world in about 10 years from now. I sort of like maybe another 5 or 6 years at the top, and then start going to the other side, doing a lot more coaching, maybe doing coaching schools, coaching academies, maybe get a pool room, maybe get involved in the organising side of the game, because that really winds me up. No disrespect to the guys who are running the world pool right now, or pool in America, or pool in Europe, but I just don't think they're doing a good enough job for the players. I'm not saying the players are perfect, because they're not, but I just think the old market and the industry, they're sort of doing it for their own benefit and not for the love of the game. And most of the players are that way also, which really winds me up. The players are sort of in it for themselves, and I'm guilty of that sometimes as well. And I think we all are, just because we're involved in that environment, so we get sucked in. But my ambition is to make the game a lot better than what it is, get it in a healthier state than what it is, because pool should be a lot more global, but more under one roof. If we can go under one roof, then we have got a chance to play for having 20 tournaments a year, let's say 5 in America, 5 in Europe, 5 in Asia, 5 in the Middle East. We should be playing for at least $40,000, $50,000 to the winner. In my opinion, at least 15, 20 tournaments a year. So. But playing the same set of rules, the same discipline, the same association, and try and build a brand. If we can do that, then I think pool's got a chance. I just hope that if it doesn't happen before my playing career is over, I can make a difference myself, because I think it's something I would like to do, just because I'm really passionate about the game. It's a game I love, and I want to see it be successful. So yeah, I think once I get 45, 46 onwards, I'll start looking maybe that side of the sport. pool, and obviously doing a lot more coaching. I really want to help the kids. I want to start big academies, maybe get my own pool room where I can sort of base. I'll just travel around the country. I'd like, when I get to that 45 age, I'd like to just play pool in America, not have to fly around the world and them long. It's just not for me. Just more of a, more relaxed playing, just play it for the love of the game, but also make a living at the same time. Where pool players are under a lot of stress, do all this travelling and under pressure to win money. Where I think it'd just be nice just to play the game like I used to play it. When I started playing the game, I did it for the love, and I'd like to get back there in like 6-7 years' time, where I'm just playing the game for the love of the game and trying to help the sport become a lot bigger. And maybe do more instructional DVDs. I mean, I really got to thank Justin Collett and Andrew Cleary for giving me this opportunity to do this, the DVDs. I think the first one was really successful, but I guarantee you that this second one's going to be twice as good. And hopefully you all enjoy it. And I'd also like to thank my sponsors, Predator. They've been with me for like 8-9 years now. I'd like to thank them, and I'd like to thank all my fans, my friends, family, my wife, my dogs. Yeah, so just really look forward to see what the future's going to bring, and I hope you enjoy the DVD. I'm Darren Appleton with Predator Cues. In perfect practice, I showed you the basics and the fundamentals. Now I'm going to take it to the next level and really test your skills. This is Perfect Practice 2. Sponsored by Predator Cues, available at TheActionReport.com.